What is it, do you think, about your game that has people just can't wait to see you on the professional level?
I think it's just the style of basketball that I play. To be honest, I don't get nervous for games because, I just know,
Caitlin Clark sat at the podium, prepared for the customary post-game questions, just moments after yet another incredible performance on the court. But a seasoned reporter made a comment that totally ruined the plan. For the first time in her recent memory, she was unable to speak. What was said? And why is it still being discussed by everyone? Come along as we unravel. Caitlin Clark was stunned by a reporter's statement. Media conference after the game. At Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the Indiana Fever had just defeated the Las Vegas Aces 94-87, a significant victory. With what many experts described as her best all-around game as a professional to date, Caitlin Clark led the way. Her stats appeared to be from a video game. In 38 minutes of play, he scored 28 points on 11 of 18 shooting, including 6 3-pointers out of 10. He also had 12 assists, 5 rebounds, and just 2 turnovers. With a few weeks remaining in the regular season, the victory moved Indiana into the postseason. Cameras clicked, reporters scrawled notes, and Clark responded to inquiries with a customary composed assurance and fiery spirit as the press room hummed with anticipation. Holly Rowe of ESPN had just inquired about Clark's developing bond with teammate Aliyah Boston, particularly how well they collaborated on the pick and roll, which had contributed to the team's 18 points in the paint against Las Vegas. Clark said, "The trust between us is really growing," with a smile. "While I was getting used to the timing at this level, Aliyah was patient with me. We seemed to be able to read each other's thoughts tonight." At that moment, she noticed Stephen A. Smith, who was seated in the front row. For someone who is known for his loud and passionate opinions on First Take and his big personality that rules sports talk shows, he had been remarkably quiet throughout the entire 15-minute press conference. "Go ahead, Stephen A.," Clark said, gesturing to the renowned pundit who had covered everything from LeBron James to Michael Jordan during his lengthy career. What startling query did Stephen pose? Let's investigate. The unexpected query. Smith slowly stood up, putting aside the dramatic gestures and big personality that had made him one of the most well-known voices in sports media. As he started talking, his expression was more serious than usual, almost contemplative. The atmosphere in the room was altered by a steady, serene voice. It didn't feel like a typical post-game interview anymore. There was something more profound going on. He said, "Caitlin, I've been doing this job for over 30 years. I have spoken with thousands of athletes from all major sports. I have witnessed teams at the bottom and champions. I've interviewed players and legends that nobody can recall. I've witnessed both rookies who shocked everyone and veterans who fell short of expectations. However, I have a question for you. Something I've been thinking about since this season, when I really began to pay attention to you." The room fell silent. In the middle of a sentence, reporters stopped typing. The operators of the cameras leaned in. Even the media representatives from the Fever, who were preparing to conclude the session, froze in the rear of the room. Smith went on, "You know, I built my entire career on being honest, even when that means being critical. That's what I do. It's a part of my identity. I don't hold back when I believe an athlete isn't performing up to par, and I don't apologize for my high expectations. However, observing how you've managed pressure, expectations, and the transition from college to the pros this season has forced me to reflect." He paused, rubbing his face in an unperformance-like manner. It was genuine and emotional. He said, "There's something I should have said long ago, and honestly, I owe you an apology. I have a question. How do you maintain such professionalism and grace in the face of injustice from people like me? I've been too critical, too quick to pass judgment, and occasionally just plain incorrect about your path to professional success. I must be truthful. You have disproved many of us, both with you and with everyone present, and you are deserving of far better than some of what has been said, particularly what I have said." But what was Clark's reaction to this? Let's examine it more closely. Clark's startling response. For the first time in her career, possibly since high school, Caitlin Clark was at a loss for words. The same player who had responded to challenging questions about her game handled the intense pressure of being the most talked-about rookie in WNBA history, faced boisterous, irate crowds at Michigan State, and remained composed under the bright lights of the Final Four at Iowa was suddenly silent. She sat with her mouth slightly open, then shut it once more. Her hands, which had been moving with assurance during the press conference, were now motionless on the podium. At last, in a quiet, tremulous voice, she said, "Wow." For once, the self-assurance that had gotten her through so many trying times seemed to vanish. She continued, "I honestly don't know what to say to that, Stephen A. I'm at a loss for words at the moment. There was silence in the room. In a world where media appearances are typically meticulously planned, everyone knew they were seeing something unique, a genuine, unscripted moment. Even Alyssa Smith and Kelsey Mitchell, two of her teammates who were on their way to the team bus, paused in the hallway and turned around. They sensed that something significant was taking place. Clark started over, searching for her voice. She was obviously still feeling emotional. "It means more than you probably realize that you asked me that question, and that you were willing to share what you just said. Because, yes, it has been difficult at times. The constant comparisons to my college statistics, the criticism. People question whether the hype was excessive, and whether I could actually make the transition from the Big Ten to the WNBA. If I were truly prepared for all of this." She stopped, inhaled deeply, and appeared to calm herself. "You know what, though? I was pushed by all that criticism. I had to put in more effort at the gym as a result. It forced me to watch more movies. It forced me to show myself that I belong here, not just to other people, that I could be the kind of player and teammate this league needs, that my supporters who have faith in me were not mistaken." Then, with a more steady voice, she looked up once more. "It's really overwhelming to hear you say what you just said, and acknowledge that perhaps some of the early criticism wasn't fair, but in the best possible way." What does Smith then disclose? Let's investigate. Smith's subsequent correspondence. After giving a slow nod, Stephen A. Smith took out what appeared to be handwritten notes from his jacket pocket. This was obviously more than a last-minute remark. He started, "There's more I need to say. And I have to say it aloud because I have previously said things on TV that weren't fair or well considered. It's time for me to own up to that." He began reading from his notes. He spoke in a somber, regretful tone. "I said you were overhyped on First Take 3 months ago. I said that the excitement surrounding you in the WNBA was a fabrication by the media, particularly ESPN, to increase viewership. I asserted that you had to demonstrate your worth over the course of an entire season before being given the limelight. I asked if you had the strength or speed to play professional basketball. I even went so far as to say that success in college did not guarantee success in the workplace. Although there is some truth to that, the way I put it disregarded everything you had already accomplished." Erica Wheeler and Aaliyah Boston, two of Clark's teammates, were now standing in the rear of the room, obviously moved by what was happening in front of the whole sports media world. Smith went on, his voice becoming louder and more impassioned. "But here's what I've learned since then. As of right now, your rookie season averages 19.5 points and 8.4 assists per game. In contrast, Diana Taurasi's first-year averages were 17 points and 4.4 assists. Sue Bird scored 14.4 points and dished out 5.9 assists. You're putting up numbers that rank among the greatest rookie seasons ever." He glanced directly at Caitlin Clark, and the way he met her gaze felt intimate rather than staged. "However, statistics don't provide a complete picture. You've raised awareness of women's basketball to a level we haven't seen in decades, if not ever. When your team plays away from home, league attendance increases by 48%. Sales of your jersey have increased by over 200%, and TV ratings for Indiana Fever games have tripled. But it's all about you. How you lead, how you acknowledge your teammates, how you handle pressure, and how you've elevated everyone in your vicinity." Smith's voice was now full of emotion. "Caitlin, I was mistaken about you. I was mistaken to question whether you were prepared. I was mistaken when I said that you weren't worthy of the attention. I evaluated you using antiquated criteria and failed to recognize what was correct.